Welcome to Be Insightful in Technology, brought to you by the Be Insightful community. In this podcast, we will bring together people in the technology realm from various different backgrounds to share their experiences while also providing you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so you can do it too. Technology is the new wave when it comes to careers, so it's best to keep up and continue learning on what positions, technologies, and lifestyles are available and being created so you can continue to scale up. Being insightful in technology is for listeners who aren't afraid to take chances. There's so much you can do. So go ahead and subscribe to our podcast so you can gain that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. Welcome to Be Insightful in Technology, where I'm your host, Shy, and I'm going to help you gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. So today's episode, we have a special guest. I'm going to let her go ahead and tell you who she is and what she does, but I'm super excited for you guys to meet her today. All right, so go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Thank you, Shy. Hi, again, my name is Shaquita Montgomery, and I am a field engineer. I work for a company called 5Q. Some may know about it, but I have a really good time greeting new people by helping their business development, and I'm excited to be here.
Glad to have you here. I'm super excited for you to explore, for you to let the people know your journey, what you've done, and everything that you've come across that you can get on this podcast today. So let them know also, where can they find you? What are your social medias, like your professional accounts, anything you want to let people know of to reach you at?
Okay, so I can be found on LinkedIn at Shaquita Montgomery. I'm not really that big on social media as much but I'm more so on LinkedIn a lot, so you can definitely reach me there. And of course, I might be willing to give my email, which is s.montgomery84@outlook.com.
All right, so you heard it. Catch her on LinkedIn. That'll be the most active where she's at. And you can see the progress. A lot of people who aren't on LinkedIn and you're looking to get into technology, it's time to get on LinkedIn. It's time to get on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's there. A lot of resources.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. How did you find your passion? So let's go on your journey. Let's get that started. Where did that fire start burning within you to get into technology?
That's a great question. So it was truly a journey, to say the least. It was something that was not intentional, something that I didn't plan. I wasn't one of those kids where, oh, I want to be an engineer, or mom and dad, I have this scholarship to NASA or anything like that. No, I was just one of those little girls that was happy in high school. I cheered, danced, things of that nature. When I graduated high school, I kind of didn't really know what I still wanted. So I got into the working world. I just started working, going through transformations. But I think what really started transitioning me was when I was working for AT&T, and I had to go through another layoff, and I was really just tired of going through a shuffle. You know, how you just feel like you've just been thrown everywhere. You know, I want to take control of my life. So that's when I was inspired by, we was getting some work done in the office, and I saw some technicians come in and do some installs of equipment, things of that nature. It's like, oh, that looks really cool. And I also ran into one of the young ladies who works there as a contractor, where she would come and repair our PCs if we have any problems for whatever reason. That right there just gave me all the ammunition I needed. I was like, wow, you do this? Like, we can do this? And it was so exciting, I just really wanted to just jump out there and just go for it. So I think as time progressed, the job got worse and worse. So I said, enough is enough. I went back to school. I studied the necessary needs. At the time, I had just had my daughter, and I knew immediately that I needed to go back to school, get a job, a good job at that. I saw my expense jump from here to here in less than a second. But anyway, I went back to school, graduated, and I started working in the field as a contractor. To say the least, it was not easy. It was a learning adventure. I had to learn everything from scratch because I'm brand new in the field. Of all things, I choose to go into networking. Really, I have no idea what it is exactly, but I knew that job looked cool, and I was like, that's what I'm going to go for. So I went for the school and DeVry, to be exact. They gave me a run through of the program saying this is what I'll be doing. This is what happened afterwards. And I liked the idea of that. So shortly after, again, I became a contractor, working a little here and there, very hard. I do apologize when calls coming in.
Sorry.
But yeah, it was it was very interesting to say the least. And I was very happy that I made that decision because without it, I would not be where I am today. So all in a nutshell, I just made a decision to get back in school, study hard, you know, crawl, walk, and now I'm running. So here I am.
All right, I love it. I really am inspired when people say when they take control of their own life.
Yes,
That right there leads you to a lot more than you can ever imagine.
I totally agree. I
'Cause
mean, you just being able to have control and to not be under someone else's commands is very liberating and very rewarding. You'd be surprised in the hard work and dedication you put through, well, invest in yourself, you'll see very rewarding results.
right. And I kind of want to touch on when you said when you saw the woman come in who was able to repair you guys' PCs and you just like, we can do this.
Yeah,
How did that feel seeing some for me it's representation. I love seeing representation in the field. It's needed. It's always needed.
it
But
is.
how did that feel for you?
Oh man, she actually was the first woman that actually showed me that yes, this can be done. And she was a black woman at that. So that's what I think was the most inspiration because I've seen maybe some women here and there, but it never resonates when it's on a personal level. I was able to connect with her on a personal level a little bit. So she was able to give me that inspiration in which I needed to ignite that fire, knowing that this can be done and I can do this. So I think that and she doesn't even know that, to be honest with you. I wish I can go back and find her and say, thank you for doing your job because your job inspired me to be where I am and where I sit today.
You love it. There, what is it? When I was in high school, I took a leadership extracurricular activity on. And in that, they asked us, what does it mean to be a leader? And I said, or the different types of leaders. They asked us about different type of leaders. I said like the quiet leader, the one who is doing things where someone may not you may not be actively trying to lead, but someone is watching you. Someone is paying attention to what you're doing, and they're taking that as an example of how to progress with their own life. So she was that in that moment for you. She was like that quiet leader who was just, she was there doing what she needed to do, but she didn't realize that you were taking note.
Exactly. I think that's the beautiful part that, we all play an important role in how we shape one's future. So, I'm very conscious of the things in which I put out because I know eventually someone's going to be around to catch it. And I want them to catch the good stuff so that they resonate and grow and develop into, even if it's outside of IT, whatever it is in which they resonate to. You just want to be able to be that next handoff for someone
Mhm.
for sure.
So speaking of like the quiet leaders, I'm gonna tell you guys how I found Shaquita. So I was going through LinkedIn, and in all honesty, I was looking for that representation. I was looking to find someone who I can connect with that looked like me doing what I wanted to do. So that's how I found Shaquita, and I got in contact with her, and she was really open to helping. Like, I really appreciate all of that. I appreciate the fact that she even responded.
Look, I mean, it's really an honor and it's a pleasure to be able to be that person because I started where you are looking for that person to look to as well for that, like how to or just some type of direction. So I feel elated to know that having that guide for you has definitely paved the way for a better future for everyone that's due to come. You know, I didn't exactly have someone to say, hey, can you, even when I still kind of nudge people, they're still kind of standoffish. But I think I've kind of learned how to handle and hold my own in my own lane and kind of build it to where I am today. So I can't really complain.
Like, it is really great when people are open, and when they aren't, sometimes it just takes from, like, watching from afar and just understanding the process. So, there are some people that I've reached out to that have may not responded, but when it comes to what they've done, everybody displays their work history and the certifications that they have. So, I do want to go over the degree versus certification debate with you in a while because that seems to be a very important topic right now as people are stepping into the field and certifications are coming at them left and right. Degrees are being made left and right. I want to go ahead and discuss like your point of view on that in a moment. We'll go into the second part. So, what are currently your thoughts, comments, and concerns, and what do you feel like needs to change in the field? What do you feel is something that just really needs to be brought to light of what's going on?
I think that we definitely need to build better pathways of interests. Um, Coming into this field was not easy, especially as a woman and as a Black woman. It is not always the most welcoming field because it's still a male dominated field. I think that change is definitely happening. It can be a lot faster, but it definitely is. Um, I just think the overall process of having a true guide pathway and a realistic pathway to get to these jobs in which the industry is looking for. Like you will see for an entry level, they're asking for CISSP certifications, and that's a certification for a professional. You know, those are people that's 5 to 10 years in the business in the industry who has that knowledge that can display such in job skills. But to say that as an entry level, I think we need to reshape what it is these jobs are looking for in the avenue in which how they want to pitch the job so that if they are looking for certain certifications, it will match just because certifications is just simply a skill set. Certifying, you know the information, but that information can continuously change and evolve. It's never the same. As you know, we have iPhones now, and then it can be a megaphone the next. So technology becomes very obsolete very quickly. So to say to put such adamancy and pressure on certifications, I myself do not, because I believe that experience is where it really counts. Why? Because we're getting our hands wet. We're dealing with this every day. You know, I've seen where I have friends who have taken and gotten their CCNA and don't know one thing about how or what the next hop would be, or know the lingo and technical terms. So I think that it's just more, let's judge those by the character and who they are and how they bring what they bring to the table, more so what it is they can do. You can always train on the technical side, but you can't get the character. I think if we stay true to that and focus more on that, then we can build the ultimate goal, which is those certified professionals that can get the CISSP and so on.
I like how you phrase that. So, from my understanding of when I first got started in the field, it was definitely a lot harder to get jobs, and it was more so when you look at the companies that you're applying to. Well, I know when I did my job hunts, I looked at the community there. I looked at who was predominantly there because I noticed that people are hiring reps. They take in people who they feel would fit in at the company.
Yes.
And when you realize who is at the company and you look and you don't see someone like you realize that they don't feel like what you look like would fit in with the company. And and the thing was, I did a lot of phone interviews, and I was always speaking to male figures over the phone. And I never really spoke to a woman until I got with like a staffing agency. And it was a woman, it was a Caucasian woman. I'm just gonna be honest, it was a Caucasian woman, and she just can't pronounce my name right at all. And I kept correcting her. We got the situation squared away. And I noticed more and more so people don't want to feel uncomfortable. So when you're, I would say when you're correcting someone, it can give them this uncomforting feeling, even though they know that they're they're messing something up. So that keeps your chances away as well. But I just say like don't conform to making anyone else comfortable when it's affecting yourself. So
Ooh, I think you hit a nerve there, honestly, because in this field, you definitely have to have thick skin for sure. You know,
mhm,
I think that to kind of piggyback off of an incident, I had a former boss who was so happened to be Caucasian as well. Great lady. She was director of infrastructure, but it kind of puzzled me because I was the admin for that company at the time, and my specialty was more on routing and switching. Um, so to come in and do an whole administration of a full infrastructure is something that was very new for me. But of course, I'm always up for a new challenge and learn something different. Um, but of course, in their eyes, that wasn't good enough. So I was cut and released after 6, maybe 7 months. And then shortly after, I said, you know what? I'm just going to get back up and I'm going to fix myself. I applied to another job, and here I stand doing exactly what it is that I want to do. And that is designing, implementing the network, building the network, figuring it, and bringing a solution to the customer at the end of the day. So I say all that to say is it became motivation for me because I know what I'm capable of. And for her to tell me to say that I'm not technical when I was sitting on these meetings and she would ask, well, what's that? Or what does that mean? Or what's that? And I'm sitting here sitting in my mind saying, hmm, she should know something, right? But not that she didn't know, but if you're the director of infrastructure, I wouldn't expect you to ask as many questions about what is what if you're running the whole show. So it just gave me a better light to say, you know what, I see what she's doing, but I can do it better. And it just created more fire and more determination to keep going, to keep striving. So never listen to your naysayers, never listen to people saying, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. Listen to yourself. Only you know what you want to do in the end.
all right, because a lot of people will try to keep you down. I had I was told that I would never get out of help desk. And in all honesty, hearing that made me so mad. I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, how can you be someone that's supposed to help someone move up, but you're saying that I would never get out of help desk? And those words triggered, those words really did trigger me. I was just
Yeah.
like, this is not this is not the plan I have for myself, and you can't tell me the plan that I have for myself. it's not gonna work. When you're not in my life, you're not me. It really comes to that. Like, you're not me, you can't tell me what I am not going to do.
Yes. I think that people always project their own fears of what they have onto you.
Hmm.
And you have to be able to be strong enough, smart enough to weed out the noise, to push out all the distractions and focus on the end game. I think fear
Right.
plays a true factor into a lot of people not truly stepping into their power. And if you will only know and believe and trust in yourself that there's been footprints to the moon, there's been videos beyond our Milky Way. So don't tell me that the sky's the limit when we have much beyond. It's all in your mind, and you putting in the hard work and getting out there for the fight.
'Cause it's really so much out there that,
Yes.
and it's, I want to say this, especially in technology, there are so many fields open with not enough people to even fulfill them. And I'm gonna take it back to an interview I had with another company. It was another temp to hire job, and they told me that I was one of the best people they interviewed. They had this position open for months, and I was really high up on the list. But it goes back to me saying that people hire who they really want to work with, and they hire people that they feel comfortable around, which is, I understand. Like, you want to hire someone with good character, good qualities, good qualities that you are willing to work with. But when it comes down to, okay, this person is really good, they said that I was green, as in, like, I was fairly new, which I understood. I'm always looking to learn, so I'm always willing to put myself for a challenge. And for them to say, okay, you're doing good in this interview, you're one of the top people, you're really a good possibility to be put here, you're and be placed here. And then turn around and say, okay, well, we're not sure if we're going to put you in here. We're going to wait for a few more people to apply. So weeks come around and they want me to take a personality test to be in the job. Like, they want me to take a personality test to see if I would fit in their environment. It was a DISC test, the DISC test.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that test. The interviewer even went over like all of my answers and results with me. And it seemed like it was going really fine, really well. But he was just like, I'm still not going to hire you, but you're still at the top of the list. Which, you know, I didn't understand. Why did you make me go through this process if you're
Is that
not going to hire me?
interesting?
Like, he was saying that I'm really used to being the youngest person around in my field anywhere. I am 20 years old, about to be 21 in like a week or so, and I'm just used to being the youngest, only black female there anyway. So I'm used to adapting to an environment or getting used to the people that I'm around. So him being like the complete opposite of what I am, it made it seem like, okay, the environment that you're set in is the amount, like the type of people that you wanted to keep in there. And everybody has different choosings, different ways of saying the same thing. But for that, it just made it seem like, why lead people on to something that you're not going to give them anyway? Because I'm pretty sure from our first meeting, we had about 2, 3 meetings. From our first meeting, you had it in your mind, because I lay everything out flat within my interviews. I lay everything out. I'm like, this is what I know. I'm willing to grow in everything. This is what I've done. So I just think from that first meeting, he already had it in his mind that he wasn't going to hire me. But it went well. But it's just like something was blocking being hired to begin with. And it just felt like a waste of time. It just felt like a waste of time. Like, if you don't feel like I fit in, you either change how you see that, like change it. Like if you feel like I am meeting all the requirements that you want and it's really working well, like we're having good conversation, it seems like it's a really a potential opportunity for the both of us. I just suggest to people who do that is change your perspective on how you see interviewees. So if you're meeting with someone, the look, the look is not the skills. Like when you first see me and Shaquita, if you see me and Shaquita, you're not gonna immediately know what we do for a living. You're not. So you would have to talk to us. You have to get to know us.
Mhm.
So it's in that conversation where you're getting to know them. That is when you judge their skill set. That
Mhm.
is when if you put something in front of them and say, "Hey, can you modify this? Can you configure that?" and we're able to do it. That is what you judge. Our ability to do a task that is set in front of us. Because that's all jobs are. Your ability to do tasks. So I just suggest, you judge based off of skill for a particular position and not off of the way they look.
I
It
totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, I think I've lost a lot of jobs just on that alone, to be honest with you. But I think that it is almost a divine purpose and reason, how I like to look at it, because it's helped to shape and to mold you. Because it's rough. You're going to have some people, they're not going to be so welcoming, not so willing to help because they are a threat, thinking that you're going to take their place, to people just feeling intimidated for whatever reason may be, personally, professionally, however. And you just have to be able to hold your own, to be able to weather the storm, to sit there and say, you know what, I'm not going to pay that no mind. I'm here to get my money. I'm here to do my job. I'm here to do what I love and forget the rest. Once you can do that, the rest is coast, because you can go at your own pace. You built up enough to where you are focused. You don't have, or how can I say, people are not as easy to knock you down. So you're more resilient. I
Yes.
lack of a better term.
Because with this, self-confidence is a must. If you're doing something and you really want to get to a specific area or a certain part of it, you need the self-confidence because there really are going to be a lot of people knocking you down.
That's the other half of the, yes, it's the confidence. You have to have, just step up to the plate.
Mhm. Like I always say with positions, it's not where you're working, it's your mission. So it's the mission you have with yourself that you need to complete. And there are going to be so many obstacles that get in the way, but you have to have that reason for for fighting through. You have to
Yeah,
stick behind that.
I agree. I agree.
There's a lot. There's a lot, and I really did want to bring Shaquita on because I am a Black woman in the field, and I just noticed certain things. I just noticed the diversity, the amount of little things that want to progress on, and being actively working in it helps you see how fast companies really work on improving it.
You know, I can't say I am proud to see the progress. It could be a lot more, but we are definitely headed in the right direction. Um, just because I've been offered, look, I think that more importantly, opportunity needs to be presented. But if you, as the person that's being presented the opportunity, has truly that talent to shine, then what's for you will happen, regardless of the obstacles that's set forth in front of you. And you just have to believe and keep pushing. You cannot allow no's to deter you. You have to allow some no's to shape you to be ready for that one yes. Because when that rest is ready and it's there, you have to be ready to say, okay, oh, because we're looking for that yes, and some of us are not ready. But always know your purpose, know your why, know your reason. So when you are presented, you're ready, so you don't have to get ready. As the saying goes, stay ready.
Yeah.
I my daughter all the time, I'm like, look, no, this is your life. I'm raising you to be an individual in this society as you get older. So everything that I do today is going to shape what she does in the future. To see the importance of being able to stand on your own as a single mom, as a Black woman, and as a Black woman in tech. You know, we take on all these titles and roles, and the weight of it all is unfathomably unbearable sometimes. But I think that us as women, and I like to say all women, but I like to give my kudos to us Black women because we carry a special load that never tends to go away for the time that we enter this world to the time we exit. So, but to see the road or trajectory of more to come is definitely encouraging and exciting to see for sure. But yeah, just deter the noise. You gotta have that thick skin. You gotta go through it. We all have to. So
Yeah.
at the end of that tunnel, it's so like
Like, don't let don't let stuff get you down, because at the end of the day, it really is like you're working towards yourself and your purpose. You want to see what you have, all the work that you have put in. You want to see it succeed. You want to reap the fruit of your labor. You really do.
goodness. You
Like,
know, one thing I did promise my customers when I decided to take on this adventure, I said, I'm not going to do billing anymore. I'm going to leave AT&T. I'm going to go into IT, and I'm going to help these customers another way, because I heard of a pain point while working there. And it gave me an idea that maybe I could be a bridge problem solver, because they're technical savvy, but they don't know how to communicate it. So to be able to live my dream, to provide solutions to customers and see the smile on their face by the time I leave their business so that they can continue to their lifestyle is very, satisfying. It's no word. It makes me feel good today that I've done a job to help another.
finding something fulfilling. That
Yes.
should be on everybody's list. Finding something fulfilling.
Yes. Even if it's, uh, giving someone a dime to, just saying hello. Sometimes we're so busy and caught up in our own lives and our own problems that a simple hello to somebody that just may do it for them and carry them through something that we don't even know what they're going through. We all go through something. So be someone's light.
Yes. Like, I don't know about anyone else, but helping people makes me feel happy inside. Knowing that I can help someone get to their next spot, because everybody is everybody wants to be happy in a way. Like, different people will define happiness differently.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find your version of being happy. I know this is supposed to be a technology podcast, but in career stuff, if you're not happy in your career, it shows. It shows in your work. It shows when you
It does.
step in front of different people. It shows when you come home, even when work is done. So
Yes.
finding your real version of happiness. Like, I'm gonna try to start doing challenges on the podcast, like whenever you listen. The challenge of today is finding out what your version of happiness is. Like, what is your meaning of happiness?
Yeah. I think that that's something that is definitely a personal journey
Mhm.
everyone should go through. Um, but in divine timing, of course, intervention. You just never know when it might strike. You want everyone to be aboard, but everyone is different, which is great because this world would be very boring if we were all the same. But I don't know. I think that just a roadmap with technology and how women are breaking barriers, breaking, boundaries of, hey, we deserve and have the right to be in this space, regardless if we're mothers or sisters or daughters. That's just because what behooves me is to know that we are who we are, and the very people who are our male counterparts that don't have such understanding, when they see their moms doing the same thing and their sisters and their wives. So why can't the balance be more understanding, per se, instead of thinking it's a bad thing against the company? Oh, they won't be able to perform. Or here it is in the midst of a pandemic, we're seeing everybody in the same playing field, and who's handling and who's not able to juggle all this. It is insane.
Like, oh, speaking of that, because we're still in the pandemic, how did you handle everything when COVID did hit? So how was it for you in the early 2020? I'm about to say 2000s, like, but how was it early 2020 for you in that whole year and still continuing on? How was that? And what did you find? If you were in a position, what did you do in the outside world? How did you handle all of that?
So it's funny because at the time the pandemic first hit, I was working for a school, and I was in the office just working, doing my job. And all of a sudden I hear my boss say, "Come on, we gotta go. The governor shut the state down." Huh? What? It's like, it's a pandemic. I'm like, a pandemic or what? What is going on? I'm like so confused. But then I started to hear how, of course, I heard about little things here and there from the reports or whatever. But I didn't think it was going to be such a shutdown. So that's some movie type stuff. But thankfully, by the grace of the good Lord, I still was working. I was considered essential just because in IT, I had to get everyone online remotely at that point. It immediately shifted everything. I think that's when we incorporated what's called the Cisco umbrella, which is pretty much a firewall in the cloud that allows authentication through the service that we actually have on site. So you're still able to have as though they're on premises, but in a remote setting. So looking at the different tools and instruments that was needed because of the fact that we're now remote made a big shift in how we look at how we're going to approach a problem or even implement for business services. So I can say for me, the pandemic didn't affect me more so. It helped me more because in the midst of a pandemic, I was recruited to another company. And again, as I spoke on earlier, I didn't stay there long. But now that I'm with my current company, things are expanding very fast. Companies are building left and right. So we're still in the midst of this pandemic. I don't know where it's going to go or if we're ever going to get out of it. And I pray that we do. But right now, business is good to where once COVID is, we can maybe start back some international travel. But for now, we're domestic, stateside. And honestly, the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise for me because it's opened more doors than shut any for me. So I am blessed to say that I have no problems with this pandemic other than that it's taken lives away.
Mm, Like, sorry for all the loss. It has been a lot going on this pandemic. It's really crazy. Everybody stay safe. Like, it's not over. It is not over, but everybody stay safe and just stay protected for yourself. But
Definitely.
It is great to hear that you kept your job, you progressed into even more amazing things. Because I feel like with everybody being from home, that means you need a more technical staff to carry the weight of sending everybody from home, sending everybody home. So this
Well,
is, yeah, I would say it's like, to me, it felt like prime time for technology jobs because they needed a lot of people on the back end to set up this stuff because a lot of companies prevented their workers from ever working from home before this started. And now when you see that the productivity rates have gone up when people work from home, is people are wondering like if they apply to new positions, is that even an option? So it's very important that you have the technical staff to keep that stuff afloat so you can continue to keep those
it
productivity levels up, keep everything running while you have workers at home.
it is true. I think that to me, the pandemic was like a rebellious child that kind of forced the industry to do something it really didn't want to do. And, I mean, because if you look at it, now that we are in a work from home setting, people are health wise a little bit better off. We don't feel the stress and pressures of having to run into an office or feeling confined or feeling like I have a goal and a quota to meet. No, I can do my job, get it done. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to be bombarded or berated about something that I forgot or whatever the case may be. So I think that this disruption is a blessing in disguise for a lot of people. It's a disruption for those in the industries where it may not be as beneficial, such as healthcare and senior living assistance, things of that nature. And I pray that everyone, stay safe and get through this ordeal in which we will get out of. But it just really highlights the more important of evolving and how much changing is needed. It's hard, but it's inevitable because we're constantly changing. The world is not the way it was 50, 60 years ago. So let's move along. So yeah.
Yeah, like speaking on all the changes, world's changing and technology is boosting the change. Technology is really boosting the change. So I'm currently in my capstone class. I'm in my final semester at Kennesaw. And I have a professor who was just saying, because he kept changing things, he was just like, if you're going to work in the field of technology, you have to get used to change. The only thing that is constant in technology is change. And nothing could be more true than that.
It is so true. Like when I felt so overwhelmed coming in the stage in which I did because when you come into IT or technology, period, the problem is that it has such a long history to where you have to backtrack to be able to understand what's happening at this moment to progress to go forward. So all the old mainframes and fuses and whatever other components in which you need before you even get to the networking aspect or whatever level in IT you're on. It's just amazing how it all started. You look at Apple and the big backs that they had to where now they have these sleek, slender devices. Um, it's really cool to see the mindset. I mean, we have self-driving cars now. We have these huge monitors in these vehicles where they can drive themselves. And even my car, I just have a Honda Civic, and it really sometimes makes me really angry with technology sometimes because I can be close to a vehicle, but I know I'm not going to hit that vehicle. But because the camera think I'm going to hit the vehicle, it breaks me to the point where I'm whiplashing, and I that I have to find the setting on that car and turn that off. It is so.
Look, I have the same car. Mine will just blink, 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 and be like, break, break, break. And I'm just like, I'm not, I can't do that right now.
Exactly. Technology when it works great is wonderful, but sometimes I think that we rely a little bit too much on it, but
Mhm.
I'm just a drop in the bucket.
Look, I know for a fact I rely on it 100%. I 100% I rely on technology. It's just I was brought up on it,
Yeah,
and it is what it is. I'm gonna learn, but I
yeah.
know I'm just gonna accept that I rely on it.
Well, I still have some old school ways. I'm an 80s baby. As I said, my birthday was yesterday, so I just turned
Say happy
37.
belated birthday!
So,
Congratulations.
yeah. But for me, I'm a visual person, so I have to see things. So I still like to get out my notepad and write down things in my journals and kind of gather my thoughts. I don't like to always put it on the computer. Everybody's like, oh, you could just put it in OneNote or in Slack or whatever. Heck, to each their own. But for me, I can go to one spot. I know, oh, and it helps to recall and jog the memory because it's not more so the technical aspect. It's just my thoughts flowing of what it is that was happening. I like to sometimes analyze my thoughts in that day and kind of see where I was and kind of pick up, okay, is that the direction in which I'm going to go tomorrow? Or how do I approach this project? I, with the current job I'm doing now, I'm doing things I've never done before. So to say scary is an understatement. But I think that it's building the very thing in which I need. We never know what we need until we're put in that situation to have that characteristic about ourselves. And that's what I love about, the good Lord. You pray for things and you realize that instead of praying for them, he'll put you in that very situation to accomplish what you're praying for. But we don't see it. But we have to pay signs.
You gotta watch those signs. You gotta.
It's always the signs. But yeah, I think that a lot of growth and development that you see along your journey, man, it's just about the journey. Enjoy the journey. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth every step.
Because the end goal is is amazing. Like all the checkpoints that you have set for yourself, once you realize that you're getting there, you're close, you're gonna set another goal. You're gonna set another goal.
And then once that goal, you know what? The next goal is, okay, I know what I'm doing. Now it's time for them to say, hey, can we do it with you? Because
Hmm.
once you establish yourself and you have that establishment, then that's when everybody becomes magneted to you. You're attracting everyone because they want to be where you are, or, get a piece of the recipe to say, hey, I want what's good, what's happening over there, and it becomes a domino effect. So, with technology, life is constantly evolving. So let the journey for what it is. It all goes
It
back full circle.
it is, and we're kind of about to go full circle because the next thing is how did you get to where you are? Like, how can others get started? Like, how did you actually step foot in the technology field? How did you find that first job? How did you find someone willing to give you a chance? How did that go? And how can others, follow suit?
So I, man, I felt like I was the only fish in the sea. I really did, because I was new. I literally was a baby coming into IT. I didn't have any IT knowledge other than working on a computer. Sorry, my battery's going a little low, but other than working on a computer, I didn't have too much, but I was determined, because I didn't want to continue to stay in where the situation I was in. So I just basically wanted to see something different, see something better for myself and for my life, and more so for my family, because you don't want to continue to repeat history, continue in the same cycle. It just something that just gets very old really quick. So I think that was the spark in me to say, hey, let me take back my own right, my own freedom, and take control of my life and go down the path I want to go. And that was when I was going through that hardest time in my life, when I would say about 24, 25. It wasn't until I was 26 I actually went back to school, and after I had my daughter. So I don't know. Sometimes I surprise myself and to see how far I've come. Because when I jumped back into school, I met a classmate, and I tell him every day, and we're still good friends to this day, that he is the reason I am here, because he did give me the opportunity to work with him. He's a contractor in the field, just installing networks or anything network related. And it is how I got my start. He provided me the access to exposure of what routers look like, what switches look like, what are their duties, how do they communicate, how do they physically look versus a logical aspect, because when you physically and logically, two different aspects, you have to be both and understand how both work. So for me to be able to be exposed to all of that really did help. He's a really huge advocate for women. And, he promoted it a lot, because sometimes, he would get it to the male chauvinist attitude type of ways. So, of course, he wanted to kind of see more women in the field. I just so happened to be one of those classmates, and I worked with him for 5 years. Business kind of got a little slow just because of the economy. So that's when I decided to start taking small little boot camp classes to kind of up my skills. And that's when I started getting into the admin, from the admin, joining a Cisco study group class. I've met some great women here in Atlanta who have some great groups that's actually providing access and exposure as well. So I think that my classmate giving me the ability to work in the field promoted everything else that came along with it. Meeting the people in the industry, because it is true. You are the company you keep. You surround yourself with the people in the industry, eventually you will get there. You have to keep pushing, reaching out. Be curious, be okay to bug them, to say, hey, I don't mean to bug you, or I won't take too much time, but I just want to ask you a simple question. You'd be surprised how willing people are willing to open up and say, hey, there are some you're going to have maybe not reply, but you will get something back for sure.
Yeah, just send it out to the masses.
Yes.
I would say, when you do reach out, don't just ask for a position. Don't
Yeah.
do that. You
Yeah.
need to be truly interested in what they're doing, so that way they can tell you about what they do and how they did it, and you get information that way. Nobody wants to just come up to somebody and just, offset, like, just give them give them a position, like, hey, I don't know you. Like, so
You can't come in here thinking that anything is going to be given. You want a
right.
position, work for it.
Mm-hmm.
Helping along the way, but we want to see what you're putting in first for it. That's for sure.
Right. Because the knowledge that they have is priceless.
Oh,
And
yes.
if you can gain and figure out everything they know, what they're willing to share with you, and you take that for yourself and you like grow with it, you'll get places. You'll get places.
Well, the beautiful thing about it is that once you do get established in this industry, you find yourself not even having to look for a job. They're going to always come to you.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone tell me that long time ago, and I never thought I would be here to this day to see how many recruiters recruit for my position, what I do. And I can give them a price opposed to me taking a price at this point. So,
Right. That ability to negotiate what you want and what'll be worthwhile for you. Like
exactly.
that's what you're looking for. That's what you're
Exactly.
looking for.
Exactly. So I think that touches a little bit on what we spoke about earlier pertaining to the certifications. It's not all about the whole search. It's about the exposure. It's about the experience. It's about your knowledge and what you know and what you hold. If you can show someone and tell someone and convince them enough to say, hey, despite what this certification parameters say, I know for a fact that this is XYZ. I think that goes back to the whole trick of the salesman's there was a boat that needed to be fixed and nobody knew where exactly to hit to fix the boat. But because this man he knew exactly where to hit, charged him over $1 million, it just took you 30 minutes. But you're not paying me for my time. You pay me for my knowledge. So no power, get it all, and you can control what you want, not take what you want, what you can get.
Right. So I know it's time to like wrap it up. And the last thing I want to go over with you today is what is that motivating, insightful quote that you live by that really gets you going, gets you driving in the field?
Because this field is constantly changing and evolving, and I'm meeting so many different people. I would have to say it would be Maya Angelou. When people show you who they are, believe them. Why? Because you have to be careful in who it is you choose to follow. You have to be careful in who you choose to allow to lead you, because you want to make sure you do your due diligence as to what it is you need to do and what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, no one knows what's best for you but you. And once you find that person that you feel comfortable and secure with, after the vetting process, then hey, by all means, go for it. I think being your most authentic self and allowing yourself to make mistakes, to be okay, to know that I fail, but that's okay, because you learn most when you fail. So that way you build on what it is, what way you should go, opposed to what it is that you think you should. Because now you're working with what you know you shouldn't do versus, okay, I don't have a sense and idea of what I need. So I think learning from those failures just sets you up to say, okay, I can accomplish this because that's not going to work, but this is why it will. So it kind of builds that game strategy into how you're going to attack it.
All right. Well, thank you for your quote. Let me have you say it one more time so they know exactly what to be looking for.
When people tell you who they are, believe them.
Believe it. Believe it. People show you their character in a minute. And
Yes.
hey, remember, the group you surround yourself with is basically a reflection of you.
Yes.
So the company that you work with, it's not as entirely connected, but it is connected.
Oh,
Who
watch.
you work with, yeah.
Energy is true, people. Why? But vibes, great vibes.
Look, you want to be surrounded with positivity.
Exactly.
That's what's gonna keep you moving, your group moving, and everything. Oh, and also go ahead and say your LinkedIn and profiles where they can find you again. We're gonna just recap that.
Yeah. Again, you can reach me at Shaquita Montgomery at LinkedIn.com. Again, my email, if you want to have a brief conversation, is s.montgomery84@outlook.com. And I'd be willing and available at any given time. A little busy as of now, but I'll be sure to get back with you for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and what were you about to say? I didn't want to didn't want to just cut you off there.
No, I was just I really enjoyed this. It was really fun. I just want people to know that, don't think that it's not possible. Any and everything is possible. You just believe in yourself and don't give up on yourself. The best investment, if you don't invest in anything else, is yourself.
Yeah, you said it. You said it. It's the truth. It's true.
Yes.
Thank you guys all for listening. I will have more information about Shaquita and any links in the show notes and descriptions if you guys are on YouTube. And I really hope that you enjoy listening. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to, keep us moving, keep us motivated. And I hope we're doing the same for you. And thank you guys for tuning in to gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. See you soon.